When you finally stop bowing to their endless demands, you strip away the control they have held over you for so long. That act of standing up for yourself drives them into a state of desperate panic, and they will scramble to bring you back down to a level where they can manage you again. If any part of what I am about to describe matches exactly what you have lived through, take a single second right now to subscribe to the channel. This journey we are on together is not about celebrating weakness or dwelling on the past. It is entirely about recognizing that understanding manipulation is the ultimate key to reclaiming your peace, your identity, and your emotional clarity. By educating yourself on these predictable patterns, you are actively taking the weapon out of the manipulator's hands. If this message hits home and you are finally ready to step into your power, leave a comment below with the words, "I see the truth." Now let that simple phrase be a definitive marker that you are no longer playing by their rules and that their ability to manipulate your reality has officially come to an end. Narcissists do not target people out of simple, random cruelty, nor do they look for broken individuals to fix or take care of. They are emotional predators in the truest sense of the word. And like any predator, they actively hunt for high-value targets. They seek out confident, emotionally aware, highly functional, and deeply independent individuals. Your inner strength, your natural light, and your stability are incredibly attractive to them at the very beginning of the connection. Being near your grounded energy makes them feel secure, important, and elevated by association. They desperately admire your honesty, your genuine emotional depth, your empathy, and the beautiful fact that you do not constantly need validation from the outside world to know your own worth. They look at your life, your confidence, and your inner peace, and they want to wrap themselves in it because they completely lack those qualities within their own hearts. They mimic your traits, match your energy, and love bomb you because your authenticity feels like the ultimate prize to conquer. But that initial admiration quickly rots into a toxic, hidden resentment that poisons the entire relationship dynamic. The very traits that made them fall for you in the first place become the exact same traits they grow to despise. The psychological reason for this shift is truly brutal. Your ability to see reality clearly naturally exposes the massive, undeniable gap between their fake public image and their deep, painful inner insecurity. You possess a genuine confidence that they can only ever pretend to have. When you start setting healthy boundaries, questioning their obvious contradictions, refusing to accept their shifting goalposts, or stop begging for their approval, they do not see it as normal, healthy relationship behavior. They view your clarity as a dangerous, direct threat to the fragile mask they wear to survive. Because you are strong and authentic, you become a walking mirror that forces them to look at their own flaws, their own deceits, and their own vulnerability. Since they lack the emotional maturity to handle that internal shame, they decide that instead of fixing themselves, they must break the mirror, which means they must break you. To a narcissist, losing control over how you perceive them is not just a minor disagreement or a simple difference of opinion. It feels like a deeply humiliating existential threat. Their entire life is built on a carefully constructed illusion of superiority, and they absolutely depend on you to validate that illusion. The moment you start seeing behind the mask, their fragile ego experiences an intense wave of internal shame. Because a narcissist lacks the emotional maturity to process or sit with that shame, they immediately try to escape it by launching an external war against your mind. They shift their focus entirely toward conquering your reality. To do this, they will systematically mock your confidence, dismiss your gut feelings as mere paranoia, suddenly turn ice cold without any explanation, and purposefully manufacture chaotic situations. They throw everything at you simply to make you doubt your own sanity, your memory, and your judgment. This toxic behavior is not always a consciously planned evil master plot cooked up in their minds. More often, it operates as an automatic, unconscious defense mechanism designed to stop them from feeling small, weak, and exposed. When they see you standing firm in your truth, it triggers their own hidden feelings of inadequacy. And their instinctual reaction is to bring you down so they can feel big again. If they can successfully force you to emotionally collapse, cry, feel overwhelming guilt, or second-guess your own perception of reality through gaslighting, they instantly feel a rush of relief and power. They use your confusion and emotional distress as a psychological drug to regulate their own unstable ego. Your independence directly threatens their mental stability because their entire self-esteem is completely artificial. It relies entirely on keeping you weak, insecure, and deeply dependent on them for validation. This psychological dynamic is the exact reason why a narcissist will actively act out and punish you the very moment your life begins to get better. In a healthy relationship, your partner celebrates your wins, but a narcissist views your progress as a direct threat. When you start becoming genuinely happier, more self-sufficient, healthier, or more successful in your career, they will not offer you genuine praise. Instead, you will notice them becoming suddenly irritated, emotionally distant, passive-aggressive, and highly critical of your achievements. Your positive growth actively reminds them of a terrifying reality they want to ignore, which is that you are building a life outside of their influence, and their psychological access to your mind has officially expired. Your success triggers their deepest, most desperate, and most hidden fears of abandonment, loneliness, and absolute insignificance. Instead of pulling off the mask and admitting that they are terrified of losing you or being left behind, they project all of that toxic internal discomfort onto you. They will quietly attack your new goals, subtly mock your ambitions, question your loyalty to the relationship, or aggressively accuse you of changing for the worse and becoming selfish. This happens because a narcissist completely confuses control with genuine connection. They do not understand what a mutually supportive relationship looks like. To their distorted mind, your emotional freedom, self-trust, and personal growth do not look like healthy human development at all. They feel like an intentional act of aggression and a betrayal against them. Narcissists absolutely despise boundaries because boundaries act as a hard brick wall that completely cuts off their supply of emotional control. In the real world, a healthy boundary is nothing more than basic self-respect. It is simply you drawing a clear line in the sand and outlining what behavior you are willing to accept and what behavior you will no longer tolerate from another human being. But inside the distorted mind of a narcissist, a boundary is never viewed as a normal, healthy limit. Instead, they interpret it as a direct act of war, a deeply hurtful personal rejection, or flat-out disobedience against their authority. They truly believe they have a right to unrestricted access to your time, your thoughts, your energy, and your emotions. When you suddenly say no or place a restriction on how they treat you, you are actively shattering their belief that they own the relationship dynamic. They feel exposed, and in their mind, you are the one creating the problem by being too difficult, too sensitive, or too demanding. It is important to remember that this entire cycle is designed to exhaust you. They want you to eventually give up your standards just to make the conflict stop. They want you to return to the version of yourself that accepted less than you deserve because that version of you was easier for them to manipulate. But every time you hold your ground, every time you choose your peace over their chaos, you are winning. You are proving that your identity belongs to you and not to them. This process of reclaiming your power is not easy. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes an incredible amount of courage. But it is necessary for your survival and for your growth. It involves realizing that their behavior is a reflection of their own internal brokenness, not a reflection of your worth. When you finally stop looking to them for validation, they lose their power. When you start validating yourself, you become immune to their games. They can no longer move the goalpost because you are no longer playing on their field. They can no longer make you doubt your reality because you have learned to trust your own instincts and your own memory. The transformation from being a target to being an observer of their behavior is where you find your true freedom. You stop being a victim of their cycle and start being the architect of your own happiness. This shift in perspective is what they fear most of all because it means they have lost their influence over you permanently. As you continue to distance yourself from their toxic influence, you will notice that their attempts to manipulate you become more desperate, yet less effective. They may try to use guilt to pull you back in. They may try to paint you as the villain to others to save face. Or they may try to re-enter your life with false, hollow promises of change. But because you have seen behind the mask, you are no longer swayed by their words or their manufactured emotions. You see the manipulation for exactly what it is, and you refuse to engage with it. This is the ultimate victory. It is the moment you stop being a participant in their drama and start living a life that is truly your own. You are not doing this to hurt them. And you are not doing this to seek revenge. You are doing this to save yourself and to honor your own needs, your own values, and your own future. You deserve a life that is free from the constant draining strain of managing someone else's fragile ego. You deserve relationships that are built on mutual respect, trust, honesty, and genuine care. You deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate your growth, rather than fear it. As you move forward, keep reminding yourself every single day that your worth is not dependent on their opinion of you. You are enough, you always were enough, and you are finally free to define your own reality on your own terms. Your worth is inherent and unchanging. Your ability to heal, to grow, and to thrive is absolute proof of your incredible inner strength. By refusing to play by their rules, you are finally reclaiming your identity and your life. The journey you are on is a powerful testament to your resilience and your courage. It takes immense bravery to look at the truth, especially when that truth is painful. But by choosing to see it, you are choosing to heal. You are choosing to step out of the shadows and into the light. Never forget that your power is something no one can truly take away from you unless you allow them to. By setting boundaries, trusting your intuition, and prioritizing your own well-being, you are building a foundation of strength that is impenetrable. Keep moving forward. Keep choosing yourself and keep holding on to your truth. You have everything you need within you to build a life that is peaceful, authentic, and truly fulfilling. You have already come so far, and the most important part of your journey is just beginning. This is your life, and you get to decide how it is lived. You are the author of your own story, and you have the power to write a future that is defined by your own terms, your own happiness, and your own unwavering self-respect. Take pride in the person you are becoming and trust that you have the capacity to overcome any obstacle that comes your way. Your strength is your greatest asset, and it is what will lead you to a life that is filled with genuine, healthy, and lasting connections. Keep being true to yourself because your authentic light is what will guide you to where you truly belong. You are worthy of love, you are worthy of respect, and you are worthy of a life that is filled with joy, peace, and meaningful purpose. Stay strong in your convictions, remain firm in your boundaries, and never stop believing in the value of your own journey. You are an extraordinary individual with so much potential to grow and to contribute to the world around you. Your experience has taught you valuable lessons about yourself and about human behavior, and these lessons will serve you well for the rest of your life. Embrace your journey, honor your growth, and continue to shine your light. You are capable of amazing things, and the best is yet to come. Your resilience is truly inspiring, and your commitment to your own well-being is the best gift you could ever give to yourself. Keep going, keep growing, and never lose sight of your inherent value. You are enough exactly as you are, and that is a truth that no one can ever take away from you. This is exactly why even the most reasonable, polite, and gently phrased requests for simple honesty, a little bit of personal space, or basic accountability will trigger such a massive, disproportionate overreaction from them. The moment you ask them to respect your limits, they will instantly shift gears to protect their ego. They might explode with terrifying anger and rage, flip the script to use the punishing silent treatment for days on end, or lay on heavy guilt trips designed to make you apologize just for having the courage to speak up. The issue at hand is never actually the boundary itself, nor is it about whatever specific rule you tried to set. The real issue is that your boundary aggressively forces equality, fairness, and mutual respect into a relationship dynamic that the narcissist specifically built from the ground up to be completely imbalanced. They simply cannot function in an equal partnership. They can only function when they hold all the cards and all the power. In a genuinely healthy relationship, love is built on a solid foundation of empathy, emotional safety, vulnerability, and a deep respect for each other's individuality. But for a narcissistic person, a relationship is never a safe haven. It is an arena designed entirely for validation, ego stroking, and psychological dominance. Because their core motivation is to feed their own fragile self-image, it makes their affection highly conditional. You will notice that you only receive warmth, attention, smiles, and kindness when you are actively playing the role they assign to you. As long as you are building them up, agreeing with everything they say, and completely ignoring your own needs to reinforce their superior self-image, they will treat you like royalty. The exact second you step out of line, resist their demands, or dare to think for yourself, they will instantly flip a switch and replace their love with brutal emotional punishment. This rapid back and forth is precisely why the dynamic becomes so incredibly confusing and psychologically damaging for you. Those brief moments of intense affection, sweetness, and romance feel completely real to you while you are experiencing them. In reality, those moments are highly effective tools used deliberately to pull you right back into their toxic orbit. Whenever they feel you slipping away, they love bomb you just enough to keep you hooked, keeping you constantly chasing that initial high of their approval. Eventually, the painful truth clicks. You have completely stopped being treated like a human partner, and you have simply become an object used to regulate their deeply unstable, fragile emotions. Beneath that loud, arrogant, and superior exterior, narcissists are not nearly as confident as they want you to believe. In reality, they are entirely driven by a fragile ego and three massive, deep-seated terrors, which are abandonment, shame, and exposure. They spend an immense amount of daily energy constructing a fake lifestyle built on high status, rigid control, or social dominance. They do all of this for one reason only, which is to build a protective shield around themselves so they never have to face these core vulnerabilities. They are terrified of looking at who they actually are underneath the mask, so they force everyone around them to look at a manufactured version of them instead. They need you to believe they are untouchable because deep down inside, they feel completely empty, broken, and insecure. The moment you choose to withdraw your attention, stop feeding their ego, or calmly expose their flaws, their internal shield shatters. This triggers an immediate wave of intense, blinding psychological panic inside of them. Because a narcissist completely lacks the emotional intelligence and maturity to process this heavy pressure internally, they cannot sit with their own shame. Instead of dealing with it like a healthy adult, they immediately project that toxic inner discomfort outward by trying to destroy your reality. They want to make you feel the exact same chaos and brokenness that they are feeling inside. When you look at their actions, it looks like cold, calculated, and powerful cruelty. But when you unmask it, you realize it is actually a desperate, frantic attempt to avoid feeling ordinary, weak, or exposed to the world. This internal panic is the exact reason why a narcissist's cruelty always intensifies the very second they realize they are losing their grip on you. What you experience as a beautiful, necessary path to your own personal freedom, they experience as a catastrophic, terrifying loss of absolute power. This is why so many survivors are completely shocked and blindsided by how vicious, mean, and aggressive a narcissist becomes when the relationship finally ends or when you walk away. They do not accept the breakup gracefully, and they do not wish you well. Instead, their behavior escalates dramatically because their source of emotional control has been completely cut off. And they will do anything to force you back into submission. To regain that control, they will quickly shift tactics and do whatever it takes to break your peace. They will stage sudden, malicious smear campaigns behind your back to ruin your reputation with your friends and family. They will purposefully create absolute financial or emotional chaos, or they will flip the switch and fake massive, tearful promises of radical change just to drag you back into their toxic orbit. Even when they provoke you into a massive argument or make you cry, that negative reaction serves a specific purpose for them. It proves to their ego that they still have a hold over you and that they still matter in your mind. This is why true, cold, emotional detachment hurts a narcissist far more than a screaming match ever could. When you finally stop reacting, stop explaining yourself, and stop caring, the connection completely dies, and their power over you completely vanishes. The single hardest truth to accept on this entire journey is realizing that they never attacked you because you lacked value, worth, or importance. In fact, the absolute opposite is true. They attacked you because your inner light was so incredibly bright that it naturally exposed the deep, hidden darkness they spend their whole lives running from. Your strong boundaries aggressively challenge their unearned authority over your life. Your natural independence completely threatened their toxic need for constant influence and control. Your emotional clarity was like a bright spotlight, forcing them to look directly at the terrifying empty space hiding right behind the fake mask they wear for the world. They did not see flaws in you. They saw a level of wholeness, truth, and authenticity that they desperately wanted for themselves but knew they could never genuinely possess. Your existence was a constant reminder of everything they lacked, so their only solution was to try and dim your light to make their own darkness feel less noticeable. True. Deep healing begins the exact moment you consciously choose to stop taking their toxic behavior personally. You have to realize that the way they treated you was never a reflection of your character, your love, or your value as a human being. Their constant manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional cruelty were never proof that you were broken, unlovable, or fundamentally flawed. It was always the ultimate proof of their own internal desperation and psychological fragility. They were fighting a losing war against their own insecurities, and you just happened to be the closest target. Real, authentic strength is not about learning how to beat a narcissist at their own twisted mind games, nor is it about getting revenge or matching their toxicity. Real strength is about completely removing yourself from the board and refusing to lose your mind, your peace, and your identity while trying to force a connection with someone who is psychologically incapable of giving or receiving healthy love. From this moment forward, you must actively choose clarity over confusion and radical self-respect over mere emotional survival. You have to stop playing the role of their emotional punching bag just to keep a fake peace in a toxic relationship. The ultimate victory over a narcissist will never come from making them finally realize, admit, or understand what they did to you. Because a person wearing a mask will never confess to the lie. They are never going to give you the closure or the sincere apology you deserve. Instead, the ultimate, undeniable victory is knowing your own worth so deeply, so completely, and so unshakably that their chaotic attempts to confuse, hurt, or destroy you simply no longer work. When you reach the point where their words can no longer shift your reality, their silence can no longer cause you anxiety, and their manipulation falls completely flat, you have won. You win by taking your power back, reclaiming your life, and stepping into a level of inner peace that no toxic person can ever touch or take away from you.